Hey guys, welcome back to episode 3 of my custom Paralives world that I'm making. So I've gone and started this whole other community lot, which is the pizza restaurant, and I'm actually turning this into an Italian restaurant. So I've added a custom sign here that just says the Italian Piazza. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But as you can see, I've done the exterior pretty much. This is what it's going to look like, and it's kind of got a bit of a castle vibe going on. I just think it blends in really well with the other community lots, so I'm happy with it so far. And I'm not going to show you the furnishing on camera, just because we'll be here all day. I want to crack on and do all of the other community lots and give them a tour, you know. But I will just show you the front of this, show you the sign that I've made. All of these signs, by the way, because I have been sharing these lots on the Steam Workshop, and you won't actually see any of the custom artwork or the signs. You've got to basically either do it yourself, or I've got to try figure out a way to import my custom artwork into Paralives and be able to share it with you as a mod. But I can't figure it out. I've tried doing it multiple times now. I've tried going into the mod settings, creating an item, and I got really close to it, but then it just didn't work in the game, so I can't figure it out. If any of you have figured it out, please can you tell me? Just let me know in the comments. How do you create artwork to be able to share as a mod? Because I want to be able to share all of these custom signs with you guys to be able to add either on top of these community lots or onto your own. So please do let me know. That would be greatly appreciated. But here is the front of the Italian restaurant, and I just want to show you a little building hack. So this is something that I learned from a YouTube video that I watched, but I wanted to create like a picture frame behind a wall that looks like it blends in with the wall. It's very hard to explain. I'm just going to show you. First off, you need to find a picture that you want to use. I'm just going to use this poster, and I don't know the artwork that I really want to go with. I think this might be the best. Stretch it down a little bit. I think this matches the vibe a little bit more. So in order to do what I'm trying to do, I have to use the wall tool, and I have to use Alt to get it right to the edge of here. And then once I've done that, just drag it along to the other side of the wall, and it's gonna snap to this, but you just have to press Alt again. Just try and make it as straight as possible. I think that is pretty straight. Let me double check. I think that's good. And then what I want to do is turn that into that brick wall, and then I have to go into the columns, arches, sorry, not columns, and then I want to create something like this and just drag this down a little bit if it allows me to drag it down, which it doesn't, so I can't use that one. Maybe this one will do. I think that's the one that I want to go with. That looks the best. I just want to stretch this to around there. Well, actually, that doesn't work. You can see it's glitching through there, but it's cool that some of the objects actually allow you to do that. Let me just pull it as far as I can and then center this to around there. And now I just need to stretch this image up. Can you see what I'm trying to do? Try to create like a little image in the background to make it blend in with the actual wall. So this is exactly what I'm trying to do, and then I just need to match the color of the actual archway with this brick that I've gone with. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. That is pretty much what I wanted to do. So that is a building tip for you guys if you want to attempt to do something like this. So if we go into the Windows option, I'm going to show you another little trick. I think it's in one of these. Let me double check. Yeah, this one. So just use this one for an example for now. But as you can see, this has created like a little window or shelf kind of thing. And if I just drag that a little bit over there, and then it blends in a bit more. And then I just need to change the color of that to match the actual archway. And look at that. How cool is that? I actually got this tip from a YouTuber called Heart Chanted. So I will leave her channel linked in the description if you want to check out this tutorial as well, but I appreciate her for helping me out with this one. There's also a couple other tips that she included in her video, which I'm probably going to use in my build, but I won't show it in this video. You guys will just have to go and watch her video so that you can, you know, support her as well, because this idea came from her, really. So appreciate that, and I'm just going to crack on now and furnish the rest of this build, and then I'll jump back to you when it's done. Alrighty, so I have fully furnished the Italian pizza restaurant, and I've also made 2 more community lots at the side. I've made a pub and a grocery store, or a general store, but I will show you all of that once I've finished building the outdoor cinema slash fish and chips lot, which I know some of you might be thinking that's such a random lot to have fish and chips and then an outdoor cinema, but the reason why I'm doing that is because this is actually a restaurant, and I was trying to think of a cool restaurant to turn into like a outdoor cinema, and I knew that I wanted to add like a fish and chip shop in this main town area, so I just thought, why not put 2 and 2 together? And the fish and chip shop isn't going to be a huge shop, it's just going to be like a little outdoor stand where you can order your fish and chips and be able to watch a movie, which is a really cool idea, I think. I'd love that in real life, if we were able to have fish and chips whilst watching a movie, sat outside in this beautiful kind of world. That'd be amazing. But before I start that, I just want to show you these landscaped lots, because I've actually uploaded them onto the Steamworkshop for you guys. I did use the toggle edit town first off, and I noticed when I tried to save the lots on the Steamworkshop and then add them to my build again, all of the landscaping items weren't showing up, or they were glitching into the mountains, which is not what I wanted, so I had to basically remove all of them and redo all of this just using the normal build mode. I had to come out of the toggle edit town cheat in order to do that, so I've shared them on the Steamworkshop. I'll just show you what they look like. If I just purchase this lot and then click on the little plus button, you can see here I've added these 3 lots there. I just want to explain that some objects, like this fence for example, probably won't show up in your game, just because this is on the edge of the lot, and I've had to obviously use the toggle edit cheat to be able to place that fence there, so I wasn't able to accurately do that without using that cheat, and I don't know if it will show up in your game when you download this lot. So if it doesn't, just follow my first tutorial in the first video that I made for this Create a World series, and you'll be able to mimic creating a fence just like this. And also remember that I had to edit these stairs, I had to pull them in just a tiny little bit, and I had to pull this little pathway in a little bit, I think, just so it all looks the way that it's meant to look. And I've also shared this landscape lot. Some of the objects that are outside of this lot perimeter, they won't show up in your game. You'll have to do this yourself using the toggle edit town cheat. Just in case you want to make the world look very similar to what I've made, this is just what you'll have to do. You'll have to do this yourself, this part anyway. But then I've also shared this little park, which is a very tiny little park, but this is another landscape lot. I'll show you what it looks like on a night time, so you can see it all. Still got to add just a couple little lights around here, but this is the vibe that I'm going with, and I hope you guys like it. And if you do, then feel free to grab all of these lots on the Steamworkshop, and just with the toggle edit town cheat, you'll just have to match the terrain with the lot perimeter. You'll have to just use that cheat and then add this kind of stone terrain there, add this pebbled terrain and whatever else. Just take a look at this video, pause it if you need to, and you'll be able to mimic it the way that you can, and then you can add all of these community lots if you want to and redesign them, or leave them how they are if you like them. But I've also added this landscaping area here, which I won't be able to share for you guys because that's not on a lot. That is outside of a lot. That's just on the actual world. So if you want to copy that, you'll have to just pause the video and do it yourself. So now I'm going to crack on with this lot. Need to make sure I'm not in the toggle edit town. I think it just showed me deactivated. Good. So I don't really want to use that cheat all the time. I just want to use it when I'm basically creating outside of the lot perimeter. So let's begin creating this little fish and chip shop first of all, and then I'll create the outdoor cinema around this little middle area here. You know, one of those food stalls that you can see around city centers and towns? That's basically what I'm trying to create here. So I'm just gonna put this not right to the edge. I do want to leave a little bit of a gap, probably around maybe here, and then drag that along there. Just want to keep it as straight as I can. That's not going to work. It's got a bit of a shadow underneath, so I might have to use it over here instead. See if that fixes that. Nope, that has not fixed it. Sometimes it does that. With this game, if you are building on some kind of terrain, you're going to notice that your build is kind of floating above. You'll have to use the actual terrain tools. Let me just try and see if the terrain tools will work properly on this specific lot. I just want to flatten it. Let's see if it works. You know when I'm not using the toggle edit cheat, because that didn't work for some reason, but when you're actually in the lot and you haven't got the cheat activated, it works. There we go. So that is pretty cool. Hopefully nothing starts glitching. I don't want to mess with it too much. I can see it's created a massive big dint in the middle there, unless that was already there. Oh, it was already there. Can you see this big dint? It's like a big hole in the main area, which is not what we want, so I did need to use this terrain tools. But yeah, you can actually use them when you're editing your lot normally without the cheat, so that's good to know. At least you can edit the terrain with these community lots. I probably could have done it for all of this, but to be honest, I really like how that looks, so I'm fine with that. I can always smooth it out if I wanna. Now let's try again. So I want this to be not right at the edge, but close enough, and then drag that to about there, I think. And that's fixed it. So that's got rid of that annoying weird shadow. I'm just going to leave a bit of an edge so that they've got like a doorway to be able to get in to the actual fish and chip trailer. It's just going to be one of those food stalls, so don't need it to be massive, but it needs to have enough space for you to have like your essential stuff. And I'm thinking if the kitchen counter's going to go there, the door's going to go in the middle, probably do it to about there. I think that's the best bet. Drag that along there. Bish bash bosh. Happy with that. And then I think I'll leave the height, or I might lower it a little bit. Let me just see how big the door is first off, and then I can just change this colour to a grey for now. I don't know what colours I'm going to add yet, but yeah, that height is pretty perfect for me. And then I want to create a little half wall. Hopefully this will work now. There we go. That will have to do. I'm happy with that. I don't even know what I want to do for the roof, to be honest. I think I might just do a half wall, or I might try see if I can add one of these roofs and just lower it down. I think this one's the best one to use. I did this in my Sims 3 world, Littlewood Haven, and it looked really cool, so that's kind of what I'm trying to mimic here. That texture has really glitched out. That's not looking good. I don't think they've correctly... I don't know the name for it. I don't know if it's map or something. You know when you have to make sure that the textures are all aligned? I don't even know the name that I'm looking for. I can't remember what it's called. I just remember in Blender you have to do a step to make sure that if you are stretching objects and textures or whatever else, you've got to make sure that the texture will remain the same and it won't stretch out and look weird like this. And I don't think the Paralives team have actually done that with this game, which is so bizarre. Why wouldn't they do that? I don't understand. That shouldn't look the way that it looks. That should be looking pretty normal, you know? Like you pull it up and it looks fine, but when you pull it down, it should remain the same, you know? Very, very strange. And I've forgotten where you actually change the roof texture. Here it is. So let's try change this. That will do. That's what I'm looking for. See, that looks normal there, but that one does not look normal. So if the Paralives team are watching my video by any chance, I'll probably report this bug as well using the thumbs up and down feedback thing. But yeah, they definitely need to fix that. Anyway, I think that'll do. That colour's pretty cool for me. And then try to think of what kind of colours I want to go with. I don't know if I want to just add siding again. I want this to be like a brick, and I might just do like a nice white brick. Let's see what that looks like. You know what's weird as well? When you're actually placing down objects and you wanted to use this drag tool, you've got this weird blue outline which is in your way and you can't see what you're doing. So if you try to make it go right to the edge, it's quite difficult to see. You always have to exit out and then do it again. But I don't know if I'm feeling this texture. I'm not. I need to change the actual wallpaper. So let's go back in here. Let's see what we've got. Right, so I'm using a reference image that I made from my Littlewood Haven world, and I kind of want it to look very similar to that, so I need to change this colour first off to be much brighter and more aqua colour. This is the colour that I want, and then I had like a nice siding going around it. Also had a bit of variant as well. So I know what I'm going to do with this. I'm instead going to change this into a half wall, and then I'm going to add the actual roof at the edge of here. Let me just scroll up. I think it's created a ceiling. It's not showing me for some reason. Ceiling finishes, delete. I figured out how you do that. literally just what I've done there. That's what you do in order to delete the actual ceiling. You don't have to go inside the lot like I've been doing for the longest time and then deleting it that way. You just click on that, and where it says ceiling finishes, you just delete. So easy. I learned that from a YouTube video that I watched. Just try to get used to this game and all of the build mode mechanics. It just takes a bit of time, but once you start figuring it out, it becomes second nature then. So I want this to be probably above there. Pull this in and then maybe pull that in just a tad, and then I can change the actual roof texture in here again to that. Then I need to change the actual siding. I'm happy with that. I just want to add some nice little topiary plants, I think they're called. I don't know, buddy shrubs. That's what they're called in Paralives, but there's a certain name for it in real life. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But this is what I'm trying to do right here. Let's pull this right to the edge, if it'll let me. I don't know why it's glitching there. That's so weird. This game is just filled with bugs, man. Like, I don't want that to be happening. I want it to go right to the edge of the lot, because that's going to throw me off. So it lets me do that there. That's so weird. But it doesn't let me pull it right to the edge. Anyway, that will have to do for now. So I don't know if I'll be able to add fish and chip decor. I don't know if Paralives has that, but we will try and see. Just want to add a basic looking counter. I think this one's probably the best. Don't want to add them though. I want this different variant. When you click on these counters, by the way, you know, you see this one popping up straight away, and I thought that that was just the default looking counters, but when you click on these three triangle dots, it brings up more options. So that's something that I noticed, which is good. I really like these counters. They're probably my favorite counters out of all of this, but they're not showing in the actual category. You've got to click on the three little dots for them to show up. But yeah, let's change the color of this. I want this to kind of match the roof color. I think that'll do. And then I need to add a cooker in the middle. I think the color's fine. I might actually put that at the side of here. I think that'll be better. And then just have counters. And do I need a fridge? Probably do. So I'll probably add this one. Turn that around. And that's where the fridge is going to be. Leave the color how it is for now. And then drag this. And then I need... Where's the counters? I need the corner one here to go just there. I don't know what's going on with these counters. All this game, just in general, like, look how many bugs there are. This is floating above. Why is it floating above? And this is lower. Like, now it's worked, but why was that doing that? And it looks like the counter's actually floating above. It is. It's not actually on the floor. Why is it doing that? There we go. And I'll just have to drag that over there like that. Pull that back to position. Try and make sure that that goes on the actual ground where it's meant to go. So strange sometimes, this game, I'm telling you. I think I want to add a little counter here, or maybe I don't. No, I don't. Because this is where they're going to pretend to serve the food. If somebody has created a mod that allows you to actually have lots like this function, you know, where you're selling food at a stall and the paras will actually come up to this window and then the staff will be serving them from this side, then that'll be great. But until then, you're probably just going to use this lot to pretend. Paras are probably just going to be walking in here helping themselves to food in the fridge and cooking meals. That's just how it is for now. I'm just going to add some windows. So I want to add a window at the back. And I don't know which one to add. Probably just a basic window like this. And then lower this down a tad. And then change the flooring in here because it's bothering me. It's this default flooring. I don't like it. Definitely want to change that to something that just matches. Let's have a look in the tiles, maybe. I actually like that. I don't think that looks bad. And now, what else do I want to do? I want to add some lights, definitely. So I think I'm just going to use the same lights that are over here. This is what I really like about Paralives, is when you actually own all of these community lots, you know, the same para owns them all. You are able to fully copy any of the objects. You're able to go inside any of these community lots and grab anything if you want to, and, you know, be able to see it all and view it all is really cool. You can't do that in any other life simulation game. Even The Sims 3 doesn't allow you to do that. You've got to visit the lot in order to do it, but I like that I can just quickly come over here, copy this little light, and put it over here somewhere. Probably put this at this side. That'll do. And what do I want to add here? I want those string lights. Where are they? I think they're in here. And then in wall decor, add some of these. But I want these to be raised up. Let me just resize them first off to around there. Put them in the middle, or as best as I can. Ah, of course it's not doing it. Of course it's not doing what I want. I'm probably just gonna have to keep them here. So I want some signs. Let's go into the debug option. I've been using this a lot with a lot of my community a lot, so I definitely recommend this debug cheat if you're wanting all of my custom lots, especially the Susan's General Store, which I'll show you more later on. But in order to get all of these signs, you know, custom signs and whatever, you'll have to have this debug cheat for them to all show up. So that's just a tip from me to you. Make sure you definitely get this mod. You can also make the mod yourself. I don't know how you do it, personally. I have to figure that out. But you can also do it yourself if you don't really like downloading mods. Then you'll be able to create it yourself somehow in the mod settings. But I haven't figured out how you do that yet. But anyway, I could have just added this, you know. Would that have been better? I think they both look good. But I think I'm just going to leave it like this for now. If I end up wanting to change it, I can. I'm just going to change these flower colours to make them a little bit lighter, just to make it look a bit different. That's what I like to do with my world. You see, that just makes it look a tad bit different. And now, what do I want to add? I want some fish decor. Is there anything in here? Just to make it look like a proper fish and chip shop. I'm obviously going to add my own custom sign on top of here if we don't have any. I'll create a logo off camera and show you what that looks like. And I am still trying to figure out how to make a mod to be able to share all of my logos that I've made. You know, for all of these signs, Lady Rose, Vintage, and BMB, and just all of these signs in the community lot area. I want to be able to share them as a mod, but I haven't figured it out. And I've kept asking people that have been uploading the artwork on the Steamworkshop, but nobody is replying to me. It's like people are gatekeeping the actual how to make the mod. I don't understand why, but if any of you have any knowledge on how to make custom artwork and make it into a mod in Paralives, please can you let me know in this video, let me know in the comments, because that's what I'm trying to figure out at the moment. Is there anything in here that resembles a fish? There isn't. So I'm going to have to create a sign off camera and then I'll hop back into the game once that is ready. So here is the sign that I've created. This is just called Fish and Chips. Very basic name. As a lot of these community lots that I'm making, they have the most basic names, but I went ahead and changed the roof back to this. I just think it looks a lot more detailed with this specific roof and this texture, and then I placed the awning on that side instead. So I also changed the brick color, and I think it looks a lot better. Let me know what you think so far. But now I'm gonna start making like the little dining area for the fish and chip shop. So I'm just gonna add these dining tables and change the color a little bit. That's actually not a bad color. I'm happy with that. And then some dining chairs just for outside. I don't know which ones I want to go with. Probably just these, to be honest. They match. Create 4 of them and then do the same thing at the other side. I don't have a clue how I'm going to be able to set this restaurant to be selling fish and chips. Hopefully a modder will come to the rescue one day, but for now, probably just gonna have to play pretend like I mentioned, but that'll do. I want some umbrellas, and I don't know where they are in the catalogue. I don't even know if it has any. Let me just see. Is this it? Umbrella? No, that's definitely not it. Here it is. This is what I'm looking for right here. For some reason, it's not letting me put it on top of the table, which is a shame. I might just have to use this instead. I'm glad that it lets you change the actual texture or the material of the umbrella, which comes in handy. I think that will do. And then just pull this down. So now everything's matching the way that I want it to match. And I'm happy with that so far. I can always change it later if I want to. So I'm happy with that. I just want a bit of a terrain coming out here. So let's just go into landscaping, terrain paints, and I like this one in particular, so I'm just gonna try and make something right now. Just want this to come out just a little tad to around there. I think would be good, something like that. And then I've just noticed these stepping stones, so I want these to match. Oh, of course it's glitching right there. Of course it is, because I've edited the terrain and it's started to glitch. I might just leave that, to be honest, and start adding the cinema area now, and then I'll do all of the finishing touches off camera. All the boring stuff, which, to be honest, takes forever. But now I want to add a massive TV, and this, I think, might be the one. Obviously, I have to resize it. Is that going to work? No. Might have to put it on a half wall. I think that might be better. I need it to be a bigger half wall. Maybe the highest one, 11. And I think the actual screen is going to go somewhere around here. Right, and now add a wallpaper. Oh, actually, add the TV first. Let's see if this is exactly what I'm trying to go for. Resize this TV. So, what wallpaper do I want to go with? Do I want another brick? Stone? Might work. Let's see. That actually does work. Can always change it later, but for now, I'm happy with that. So let's grab this color, edit, copy, Control C. Go into the TV, Control V, paste, boom. And then that looks like it blends in a little bit, but I want to add the same kind of roof texture on here, but I want a different variant of the roof. I have done this in The Sims 3, that's kind of the idea that I'm going for. Let's just make sure that that aligns. Hopefully this will work. I need to drag this all the way to the bottom. Pull that to the edge, Control Shift, and then I'll just have to lower the TV down just a little tad to around there. And then I want to change the color. I need to change the texture again to this. Doesn't let you copy the texture. I keep forgetting. I have to do it this way instead. It's like letting me put the actual texture on the, what are they called, the ridges or something? I'm probably going to change that, but I'll leave it like that for now. I'm definitely going to change that because that'll bug me. But I think this is looking alright for now. I just want some columns now to go on each side of here. Hopefully it'll work. I might have to use the transform tool, and I've noticed the transform tool is really buggy. But I think that looks pretty alright, so I don't even have to use the transform tool, which is even better. And then add some little lights at the side of here. I actually like them. Gives it a really nice effect. Now I've just got to add all of the seating, so I've no idea what seating I'm going to add out here, but let's just go through a few of these options. I don't know if I'm going to add armchairs or actual seats. You know, I could always just add these. I know this is very realistic. I don't know if I want like these instead. Yeah, I do. I definitely do want these. So that's one chair. Probably going to change a lot of it, but let's just keep it how it is for now, and then when I change it off camera I'll show you the result, guys. And then I want some little lights, and I know exactly the kind of lights that I want. But yeah, I wanted to create my own little outdoor cinema. After seeing the Paralives team show off the cinema event, I thought, you know what, I think it'd be quite cool to add a little cinema area. And I think we've got popcorn as well, which will make it look even more realistic. Let me just add these over here. Add these popcorn boxes. And what's really cool are these right here. What's really cool is you can change the texture and everything, but you can also change the like different versions. So you can have some that are spilling on the grass or on the floor, which is really detailed, and it's perfect for what I'm looking for right now. And I don't know if we've got a popcorn machine in Paralives, but let's just add these here. Add like a couple of these. That'll do. Add them there, and then this is where people or paras will come and get their popcorn. So yeah, I like that. I love these little details in Paralives. It's so cool. But yeah, I think I'm happy with this lot so far. Any little details that I want to change and add, I'll do that off camera. So I'll show you all of that footage once I've done, and then I'll show you all of the other community lots that I've decorated. So I will be right back. So I've completed the outdoor cinema area and the fish and chip shop, and I'll just show you what this lot looks like. I will try coming to a different mode than this. How do you hide the UI? I'm pretty sure it's Control H. There we go. So this is what I've managed to make. I hope you guys like it. I've just added like little decor pieces here and there. I've changed the color of the sofas to just blend in with the environment a bit more rubbish at talking about this kind of stuff. You can just see it for what it is. I also added these little blue lights. I have to show the UI again and change the lighting. If I come onto a nighttime mode, I'll show you what that looks like. So just gives it a nice little, I don't know, feel to it, especially on a nighttime. Like if you come in here to watch a film or whatever, you'll obviously want all of the lights to be quite dim. So I just thought I'd change the colour of these to like a nice little blue to match the fish and chip shop and just match all of the setting, and I think it looks pretty decent, so I'm happy with that. So I'll show you the fish and chip shop. I've added like little just realistic decor pieces, loads of bottles of water, pop, ketchup. I've added the popcorn stuff there. I think you've already seen that though, and just some like cups behind here, wall decor, just to make it a little bit more realistic. And I've just added like little details. I'm sorry if you see this outline, by the way. I'm trying to figure out how you turn that off. I think you have to create a mod to do it, unless there's something in the settings that does that. But yeah, just added this same detail what I've added onto the other community lots with this moulding going around it. I think that looks pretty decent how it is. But you'll notice that I've also added a whole landscaped area here and a pathway, which really like how that looks. And I've also changed the bridge to be a more intense red, just to match the San Francisco bridge. I know this doesn't look like that actual bridge. I'm hoping that a modder, like I mentioned earlier on, will be able to make a similar bridge to the San Francisco one. I just wanted to, you know, make it look the way that I wanted it to look, and I've fully landscaped this area. I think it looks pretty decent. I'm trying not to clutter it too much just for lag purposes, but you know, I will be getting rid of all of these buildings, you know, like these massive skyscrapers that have loads of objects and furniture, so that should reduce the lag, and then I'll be able to fully decorate it with all of the landscaping items that I want. I've just landscaped this little area here, added some more terrain paint, and I think that looks pretty decent, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I think it looks alright, and I am trying to figure out how to actually share this world with you guys, so you'll be able to have all of this, but if I'm not able to figure that out, if you can't actually share your save files, if I'm just not able to do that, if I can't figure it out and it doesn't work the way that it's intended to do, then you'll just have to use this video to basically mimic everything that I'm doing yourself if you want it to look exactly how I've made it. And like I mentioned, I've uploaded all of these little landscaped lots for you on the Steam Workshop, and all of these community lots will also be on there, and any lot that I do create, I will be uploading it onto my workshop, so you'll be able to try and create it as accurate as possible. You'll just have to do certain things like little landscaped areas, pathways, editing the stairs, things like that. You'll have to do yourself, obviously, but I am showing the majority of it in my video, but obviously I've cut this part out. You'll just have to pause the video and do that yourself. So anyway, let me show you what I've made with the actual community lots. I'll show you the interiors. So I'll show you the Italian piazza first. I've showed you what the exterior looks like. I'll just show you again. This is the front of it. Here's another view of it, and I really like how it looks. It's kind of got a bit of a castle vibe going on, and I just feel like it matches the aesthetic that I'm going with the rest of the community lots. As you can tell already, it's looking very Italian themed, you know, with the greens, the whites, the reds, and the burgundy colours. Just matches it. We've got this feature wall here that I showed you how to make. Sometimes this glitches, so if you do download this lot and you notice that the wall is glitching through, all you need to do is just click on this archway. Just click on it and then it should appear as normal. Same with the windows. I've noticed that they glitch a few times. It's just whenever I've re-downloaded the lot, for whatever reason, it's done that. So if you have that issue, I apologise. But I'll just show you these welcome mats. So I've added Buongiorno. I actually got that from White Lotus. I realised that's how you say hello in Italian. Buongiorno. I hope I'm saying that right. If there's any Italians out there and I'm butchering that, yell at me if you want to. I apologise, but I am a typical English uncultured swine. And then we've got grazie, which is, I think, thank you. Yeah, it is. I learned that from White Lotus Season 2, which is my favourite season out of White Lotus so far. But yeah, this is just a little welcome area. You've got the pepperoni pizza stand. I found this in the debug options, so you will need the debug mod for this lot, and the majority of the community lots that I make, you'll need the debug mod that I've linked in previous videos. I'll probably link it in this one as well, but I also link that on my Steam Workshop builds. Any of them that have it, I link it in there for you to be able to find it. But yeah, it's just got like loads of little seating areas. So this is going to be where I'm guessing a family would sit down. This is where they'd have a big family event, birthdays, things like that. And then this is like a little romantic area. So paras that are coming on a date, they'd be able to come here, you know, Bella and Mortimer, rekindling the marriage. They'd be able to come here and have a pizza or whatever kind of food they want, pasta, whatever. And then more seating areas, just, you know. I don't know if this lot will function the way that it's meant to. I will probably have to use mods to be able to get it to work the way that I really want. I know that there's a little businesses mod. I don't know if that will have any, you know, effect on this. I don't know. I have to figure that out. But this is mainly just created just to test it all and just to, you know, basically replace the pizza restaurant that was already here with my own version of what I want. But if I go page down, I'll show you the lower floor. So here's just like a little entranceway to the restrooms. You got the male and the female restrooms in here, and just made it look very themed, just an Italian restaurant. This is how I imagine it would look. And then we've got like a little area just for the staff to sit down and chill out on, you know, have a cig break or whatever. This is where they would come and do that. I'm so sorry about this outline. I've noticed it in a few of my videos. I hope it's not annoying you guys. But then got the chef's kitchen, which I really like how this has turned out. You know, I've tried adding enough details as I could. And then you've got this area here, which is where people would come and get their food. This is where there'd probably be like an open buffet. You'd be able to get your drinks from here. You know, you'd be able to tip the chef and the staff here as well. But that's kind of what this area is for. And this is also where the chef would hand over the food to the staff to give to the customers. But yeah, I've added loads of decor, all the cups, cutlery, you know, everything that you'd need, spices, pans, just to make it look as realistic as possible. All of the pop, alcohol, jam. I don't know why they'd need jam in an Italian restaurant, but hey-oh, I didn't know what else to add there. There's not that many decor items to really use. So just added whatever I could, and then just, you know, all of the essentials for the chef's kitchen. That probably won't function the way that you want it to function. Like, I'm assuming paras will probably come into this kitchen and start cooking their own food on the cooker and start grabbing food from the fridge. I think that's just how it will work until we get a proper functioning mod or restaurant. I don't know. But I'm assuming that's how it will work. Unless for some miracle it actually functions the way that it's meant to. I'll have to test all of the gameplay someday. But here is another little seating area. I've added these lounges here, and I've just made this blend into the wall. That's why you see this here. When I have it on a half wall, you'll be able to see the sofa glitching through there. But when you're using the game just in this mode, you can't even tell because I've raised the flooring. So yeah, really like how this has turned out. I think this is another one of my favourite lots, and the B&B is definitely another favourite. I'll just show you that I've edited the B&B just slightly. I've raised up the lower floor wall to be higher, just so I could fit a shower in here. So I've changed it a little bit compared to the last video that you saw. So I hope that'll be helpful for any of you that really like this lot. I've shared it again on the Steam Workshop, so you'll be able to download that. And I've added like a little bit more detail with a suitcase, slippers, and whatever else. So I'll show you the pub next. So I've called this the Fox Inn Family Run Pub. This is the front sides, and added a little landscaped area there. I love how it looks on a night time as well, just show you. Just like how it all pops with the lighting. I think it looks quite cozy. I'd love to visit a little pub like this. So if I page down, show you the inside, let's see the front area first. I've already got a para visiting. Don't know who this is. Tara. I've got a welcome sign, even though it's not very welcoming. It says bugger off. So this is pretty common in little family-run pubs. They'll add a bit of humour. Let's say a British person runs this pub, or an Irish person. I don't know if Irish people say bugger off, but let's just pretend. But yeah, it says bugger off there, and I've just made it very themed. It's called the Fox Inn Pub, so I've added a fox picture. When you do download this build though, this fox picture and the Fox Inn logo will not show up in your game. But once I have figured it out, I'll share all of the custom artwork. I've also added some artwork showing a German Shepherd and a Husky. It just matches the fox picture there. But yeah, this is the bar area. Just tried to make it look as themed as possible. Got the Tiffany lamps in here and just everything that you'd need. These pumps, I believe that they're in the debug option, unless they're in the normal decorating build by, but I'm pretty sure that these are the debug stuff. But you can actually use these. These do function. You can order a drink from here, which is good. And then a nice little fireplace here. This is where the local will sit. This is where the local drunk always comes. After work, this is where they'd sit. This is their main seat. If anybody else sits in here, they will kick off and there'll be a fight. So that's kind of what I've imagined would happen here. And then some nice little seating area here, and I love how it looks on the night time. I'll show you the nighttime version. I just like how it all looks. I love how the lighting pops with the actual window, you know, the reflections and stuff. Really like how that looks. Added a guitar, added a music jukebox thing there. That's pretty much what I've added. Newspapers that tell you everything that's going on in the town. Got a newspaper event sign here that says that Stardust are doing a tour, whoever the Stardust are, no idea. Some Paralives lore right there. So here I've added Susan's General Store, and the reason why I've called it this is just because I found this sign in the debug options, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to, you know, mimic it in Paralives, because this is actually some Paralives lore. Whoever Susan is, I have no idea, but if I do manage to find Susan in the Paralives world, then I will try assign her to this community lot so that she'll work here. I can't remember what this lot was before. I think it was just a shop. Yeah, it was just a random shop, and then I've just turned it into a grocery shop, which I think looks pretty decent. So all of these signs I found in the debug options. You got the fresh and local produce, and then all of these signs, but I've also added it at the front of here. I hate this camera, I do apologise. Just says all you need there, very subtly. I love how this lot just blends in with the terrain. I really, really love how it all just blends in. Like, no glitches or anything that I've noticed so far, but I'll show you inside. I'll show you this front area first. This parrot is glitching, speaking of glitches. That's not meant to happen. You can move them out of the way easily. You just click on them and move them, or you'll be able to click talk with and ask to leave. That's probably the best thing to do. Ask them to leave and then she'll bugger off. But yeah, she's glitching all over the place. I'll probably have to unstuck her. I have noticed a few routing issues with the paras, just because these are brand new lots and they're built a very different way to what the original lot was. So they're probably going to have a few routing issues here and there, just like you saw. And that I can't really do anything about. I don't know how you're meant to correctly route any of these. It's just the way that the game is coded. So I won't be able to do anything about that. If you have any routing issues and glitches, you just kind of have to ignore it until they, I don't know, patch it out and give us an official Create World tool. I don't know, but that's just something I thought I'd mention. But yeah, I've just added like all of the essentials in this store. So this store is going to sell food and cleaning products mainly. So you'll get all of your fresh food, like your veg and tomatoes and all of that. And then it also sells cereals, flour, coffee, eggs. You've got your ramen, you've got jams, ketchup, olive oil, all of your essentials basically on this section. Some of it probably won't make sense, like especially in the fridge. Apart from all of the milk and all of the stuff that you would put in a fridge, I've put the ramen in there. I don't know if you put ramen in a fridge, but let's pretend that they're yogurts, because that's what I thought they were at first until I zoomed in and it said ramen. So just pretend that they're yogurts. And I've added loads of coffee in there. You might think, why have you put coffee in a fridge? I notice in real life they have a lot of Starbucks in fridges these days, and you can warm it up. Or you can have it cold, so that's why I've added that in there. And then you've got your milk, got your water, you got your pop, you got your alcohol. This area here, I really wanted to fully decorate this with a load of freezer stuff, because this is what I intended it to be, like a little frozen area with pizzas and chips and all of that. When I say chips, I'm talking about frozen potato fries. For you Americans, we call them chips in the UK. But I wanted this to be a freezer, and instead I've turned it into a fridge that just has cheese, just because I couldn't find any objects at all that could match the freezer. There are ice creams, but I had to use the advanced tool, and I've noticed when you're using the advanced tool to move things, it glitches when you download the lot, which I don't want, so trying not to use that. But yeah, you got the fresh veg, all of your onions and whatever else they are. They look a bit weird. But yeah, you got your essentials there, and then you've got your cleaning products on here, and breads, popcorn, and just some random stuff. Like I've added a cake dessert on top of there for Christmas time. And I'm still trying to figure out how you're actually meant to sell any of this stuff, like click on it and buy it. Don't know how you do that. You probably have to create mods, and I just can't be bothered to try to figure that out right now, but I will do that when I've completed the world. I'll go through these community lots and make them all sellable, try and make it work the way that it's meant to do, but you might even have to use a mod that's already created to be able to do that, so don't know, I'll figure that out later on. This is just for decor purposes for now. This is just to see what's possible in Paralives. But yeah, got all the cleaning stuff, your medication at the top, your, you know, ladies essentials, plasters, toilet rolls, and hopefully Paralives doesn't go through a toilet roll pandemic like we have gone through. And then all of your toothpaste, soaps, just all of your essential crap. And then here is where the cashier would be. This is where you'd obviously give your basket, and this is where she'd scan everything. Whoever would be working here, I'm assuming Susan, whoever Susan is. And I've just made it look realistic. For sale sign there. This is just to indicate that you can buy stuff. And then we've got the hiring sign and little finishing detail. So that is the grocery store, and that's all of those community lots that I've added. So this is the vibe that I'm going with. This is exactly what the main town area looks like, and this is what the Paralives town is kind of gonna look like. I'm obviously gonna add different theming all around these areas and all around here when we get to that. But yeah, this is the main town area done, guys. I hope that you like it, and if you are still excited about this series, let me know. I've noticed a few other YouTubers have been using the empty terrain part of Paralives, which I showed you in my first episode, and they're able to use a mod or create a mod to be able to add multiple different community lots, residential lots. So I've noticed you're able to do that, which is really cool, and I'd love to try that in the next episode. I might try to recreate Littlewood Haven, but make a much smaller version, you know, not make something crazily big. And I don't think I'll be adding loads of community lots or houses straight away. I just want to build the actual foundation of it. Try landscape it, try add whatever I need to before I start adding all of the community lots and the houses, just to see if it looks the way that I want it to look. So if you guys want me to do that, let me know in the comments, and I will definitely crack on with that for the next episode. I think I'm going to do it anyway, just to see what is possible. Play around with the empty terrain a little bit more, so definitely come back for the next episode. Don't know when it'll be out, just once I've edited it. It's been really warm in the UK, that's why this episode hasn't been out this week. I'm sorry guys, it's been too warm. There's no way that I was sitting in front of this PC during this heat wave, no chance. Hopefully the weather will cool down and I can crack on and upload these videos more often. But sometimes it might take a little bit longer, so just bear with me. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you are enjoying this series, as you will never miss an episode. Let me know if you've got any suggestions for future episodes. If you think any ideas you want to share will be really good, just let me know. And thanks again for watching. Please like, sub, and comment. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care, bye-bye.